Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It is Athletic Director Tuesday. We've got a lot to cover with the Deputy Athletic Director Eric Roedl. Also, it is Tip-Off Tuesday, our final Oregon basketball coaches show with postseason coming up for Oregon women's basketball tomorrow. No Duck Insider for us tomorrow because we have an 11:30 pregame show with Chris Clayton for Oregon women's basketball in the Pac-12 tournament. And then 2, we have a 1 o'clock first pitch for Duck baseball on the road at Grand Canyon, a little Wednesday afternoon matinee baseball for you. And that 2-game set starts tonight. Ryan Milano's got a 4:45 pregame show for you across the Oregon Sports Network. And then conference play begins for both Duck softball and Duck baseball this weekend. Duck softball at home. We're going to talk with Melyssa Lombardi here coming up. And then Ryan's out with baseball. He'll have the call for the Arizona State series beginning on Friday as well. Big week at home for Oregon men's basketball. We talked with Coach Altman and Infali Dante on Tip-Off Tuesday this morning. That show coming your way 2:30 this afternoon and across the Oregon Sports Network wherever you get your podcasts and tune in. And Infali Dante talked a lot about his journey to Oregon and what this place has meant to him. You won't want to miss it. And it is senior weekend, so he and a lot of other Ducks will be honored this weekend. 6 o'clock tip-off on Thursday for Oregon and Colorado. We'll have more preview of basketball coming up, but first, Deputy Athletic Director Eric Roedl is here in the studio. What's up, Eric?
Joey, how you doing?
I'm great. How are things? What have you been doing all day? How's your day been?
It's been awesome. Every day is great here, right?
That's next level right there in answer to that question. Men's basketball season is a big week ahead, Eric, isn't it, at home?
Yeah, you packed a lot into that intro, Joey.
I missed a few things,
You
too.
squeezed a lot in there.
I mean, there's even more going on. You want to get into a little bit of lacrosse coming your way tomorrow. Merrimack is in town. If you asked me where Merrimack was, I don't know that I would have gotten it right away.
Connecticut?
See, that's good. That's good. So Merrimack is in town for Oregon lacrosse coming up. Yeah, but this is the time of year where there's a lot going on, truthfully.
Yeah, it's an exciting time of year. You got the postseason upon us and the winter sports, and you got spring sports kicking into high gear, and football, spring ball is right around the corner. You feel like kind of everybody's got something going on.
I also had to double-check myself. Maryland. Andover.
Merrimack?
For Merrimack, yeah.
Okay.
315 Turnpike Street, North Andover, Maryland. A 01845 area code. I can't say I see a lot of zeros. We're in the 9s out here, on the West Coast. But they're actually in town to face Oregon lacrosse. And you talk about basketball, Eric. I mean, right on the. Okay, let's settle this once and for all. Okay, we've been having a discussion about the phrase "on the bubble" on the show. So here's what I postulate, if I could, Eric. If you are in the bubble, that means that you're in the NCAA tournament if it started today. If you're on the bubble, you're right there on the edge. You're teetering between being in or being outside the tournament. And then if you're outside the bubble, you're not in the NCAA tournament. Is that a fair assessment of that phrasing? How do you view the bubble?
I've never broken it down. I don't know. I have to give it some thought.
Yeah.
But, that's the terminology that's used, and that's what's out there. And we have everything kind of right in front of us. I'm sure that we'd love to have gotten a couple back along the way, but, we've got a quad 1 and a good high-level quad 2 game at home this week and great opportunities. And then if we take care of business this week, you're sitting as a 3 seed going into the conference tournament. And the path is right there.
Well,
so.
I mean, shoot, how many times has Oregon had success in the conference tournament? There's no coach that's won more games in the Pac-12 tournament than Dana Altman, including one year where they won 4 in a row. Here's hoping that you don't have to win 4 in a row, right? That makes a huge difference in the conference tournament.
Absolutely. I mean, that extra day of competition and lack of rest, I mean, just it's hard to go win 4 high-level games back to back to back to back.
So what goes on for you come this time of year? I mean, it's bittersweet for me. Like, when you get to senior day, you kind of celebrate. And also senior day has certainly shifted in college basketball with the way the transfer portal has changed the sport. Like, I think, though, that it's worth celebrating. It's certainly worth celebrating all these guys here moving forward.
Absolutely. I mean, you absolutely. We've got a great nucleus of players on our team, and we've got 2 big games here. We want to fill up the arena. Our students, we need to get our students out there and bring the energy, and we want to send our group out on a high note.
How about
protect our home court?
And protecting the home court, I was just going to ask you, like, how about the students, Eric? I mean, for someone sitting in your chair, it must be rewarding to see the pit crew filling up.
Yeah, the students have been great this year. I love the way they've responded. We've challenged them, and our marketing staff's done a great job of just trying to build the energy and creativity and try some new things with the students this year, and they've responded really well. Those little bleachers that we added behind the basket have been great. And, I mean, down the stretch here, they've been great, and they've brought a lot of energy, and we know that'll happen this week.
I don't know if I've ever asked you this for a basketball game day. We've kind of done like the day in the life on a football game day for you. Where do you like to watch the game from at basketball at Matthew Knight Arena?
I'll usually bounce around a little bit, but I'll watch most of the game with my family. Yeah. I'll just sit in the seats and watch, and then depending on what's happening operationally, or if we've got some people in town you want to catch up with.
Do you pace? Like, are you somebody that like nervously paces during games if you can?
No, I probably would, but I'm sitting there, and when I watch a game at home on my couch, it's a little different demeanor.
Yeah, sitting forward, a little tighter. Yeah, no, I asked that. So Eric, you sat next to me at the Arizona game, and I'm always interested, like, when I'm doing a game, right? Like, it's certainly a different thing. We've discussed how I do the lean, just to make sure I can see everything. But it occurred to me that I had no idea, like, where you like to watch from. So with the family is a good seat.
You have a hard job, by the way, sitting there right next to the bench,
Thanks.
Trying to cover the game by yourself. You don't have, it's not like a play-by-play and a color. You're a utility man doing everything, and coach is back and forth, and you get boxed out a lot down there. Yeah. So I give you a lot of credit for keeping up with what's going on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I always say that I get a little ab workout, with the teeter back and forth. I want to say, though, so this is my 6th year calling basketball. I've only almost fallen out of my chair once, where I've like leaned and the chair's teetered. One time, John Lundquist, thankfully John was there sitting next to me. He caught me and pushed me back into place. So you didn't have to catch me in Arizona.
We don't want you taking any spills down there on the press row.
No, you would take over, though. You would do fine.
I don't know. That's tough. That's a lot of time to fill. I'm not wired that way.
Well, time and score, locate the ball. That's play-by-play right there in a nutshell.
No, but, this time of year, I think back to what you were saying before, number one, first and foremost, we want to finish strong here at home. And then, simultaneously, we're getting ready for the postseason. We're getting ready for NCAAs. We're getting ready for any alternatives if that doesn't happen. And, our staff's been at this a long time, so we've got great people, and we're prepared and ready to go. And then, this Pac-12 tournament's going to be a lot of fun as well. A huge opportunity for the program, and certainly a unique one, with it being the last, at least, of the current composition together down there.
So, you touched on, like, being prepared for all the different scenarios. That's a tough job, I'd imagine, as an administrator, because it's like, all right, March Madness, find a way. But you do have to have some contingencies, I suppose, don't you?
Yeah, you just, you're building plans A, B, C, whatever happens, and be ready to adapt. Yeah. And again, we've been through this every year, and it's not just men's basketball, it's all of our sports.
Right.
So
you touched on the Pac-12 tournament. I was kind of curious. Like, I know that's similar, at least for me. Like, there's a lot of catching up with people. There's a lot of meetings that go on. Like, is this one going to be different? Will it feel different for you in your role?
I'm sure it'll be different in some respects, just, especially, in our engagement with the Pac-12 staff and with some of our peer schools and administrators and staff down there, but in a lot of ways it'll be the same as usual.
Yeah.
And we're down there with a job and to come out with a bunch of wins.
Here's hoping for a Tuesday through Sunday. How about that? A Tuesday through Sunday trip in Vegas would be nice.
Yeah, that would. I mean, even Wednesday we'd take if we could start on Thursday, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm in.
But no, it's going to be great, and excited to see what our guys can do down there.
Yeah, it's senior weekend again. Guys like Jermaine Cousinard and Folly Dante, who have done so much for this program. 4:00 on Saturday against Utah, and then it starts 6:00 against Colorado. Two teams that the Ducks would like those games back on the road, especially that Utah game. So these are big ones moving forward. As Oregon, I'm on the bubble. The Ducks are on the bubble. This has been a debate more than I'm willing to admit, because there's consensus among some, no one who is currently in the studio, that the bubble is like the 20 teams that are right on the edge, and if you're in the bubble, that means that you're one of those 20. And I'm saying no, if you're on the bubble, you're teetering back and forth. In the bubble means you're in the tournament.
In the bubble is 1 through
68.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll weigh in on that with next time.
Okay.
I'll let you know what I think.
Sounds good. Eric Roedl's here, Deputy Athletic Director. We're going to get a timeout, come back. Football season tickets going on sale, and so far so good. We'll talk a bit about that, the details you need to know after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Imagine all the fun you can have this spring break in a new Toyota. Woo-hoo! I'm having fun, and I'm not even there.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends April 1st.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Imagine all the fun you can have this spring break in a new Toyota. Woo-hoo! I'm having fun, and I'm not even there.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends April 1st.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack and Deputy Athletic Director Eric Roedl joining us in the Country Financial Studio. We were just talking about football. Football really is a year-long sport at this point. I mean, you have the heat of the season, but there's so much focus on recruiting the offseason. Then spring football, then it's like, okay, we get a few weeks for summer, and then fall camp is officially here. I always ask you about football scheduling. There's been nothing happening in football scheduling. You haven't had anything to do on that subject for the last few years, right?
Well, we had a busy little stretch there in the fall with the football schedule, and we've we're not going to Hawaii this year, so we've continued to have some shifts there, but right now I think we're in a good place for the next few years.
That's great. I mean, I ask you this, I know every time you come on, Eric, but there's so much focus on the football schedule, the schedule ahead, does it finally feel like you've settled in, truthfully, for at least a little while?
Yeah, well, with the transition of the Big Ten, it flipped us. We've talked about this before on here. With the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, it reversed the years where we're 4 home, 5 away. So we had to make some adjustments with our schedule, and we'll probably look at some things down the road here in the 20s with what we've got scheduled as well. But overall, we feel really good where we're at right now, and we've certainly got a tremendous home schedule over the next few years, starting this upcoming fall.
And with that in mind, season tickets, all the details, GoDucks.com. There's been a tremendous level of interest. Thanks, fans, for showing that. I don't know, a comment on that, Eric? Give us a little bit of a State of the Union where season tickets at for football.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, our renewal rate has been one of the highest we've had, really in a decade. We're up around close to 93% right now on renewals.
Wow.
So it's great to see that kind of loyalty and that kind of a desire to return to Autzen and to continue to be a part of this. And then the response from both our season ticket holders and then all of those who made deposits for season tickets has just been off the charts, positive. A lot of momentum around, like you said, the success of the program, the recruiting, the brand, just everything that's happening around Oregon football right now, the transition to the Big Ten. So that's all manifesting itself right now in our season ticket efforts. And we're getting back to the levels that we were at back in 2010, 11, 12
Sweet.
With our season ticket base, to the point where we could even, with a nice little run here over the next month, sell out of season tickets for Oregon football. So we're really excited about that. If you're interested in season tickets and you don't have them yet, absolutely get online, call the ticket office, and talk through some of those options, because we've still got some great locations and great season tickets left, but they've gone really fast.
And seat selection, I know a lot of people are always wondering about that. It kind of is like it almost feels to me like the first day of school for the season ticket process. When you get the seat selection, there's like this big energy behind it. And I know that the season ticket selection, it goes quick because those good seats, there's no bad seat at Autzen Stadium, truthfully, but I know what you're talking about. It happens.
And the other thing now is, just as you look forward, 2, 3, 4 years, and you look at our schedule rotation, we don't see the demand falling off. We've got some great opponents coming in, lots of new schools that haven't been here to Autzen, and the trajectory of our own program we expect to continue to grow. So great time to get in right now.
Yeah, well, and on that note, like I've talked about this a few times on the show. I mean, I know it's football off season, but maybe I should still talk about this more. Like, there was some data released about TV ratings, which I know you and I have talked a little bit about this, but like, the TV ratings demonstrate that there really is like the cream of the crop in terms of viewership and consumption. And Oregon is one of those crops. Creams? I don't even know the proper way to phrase that. Oregon is in the cream of the crop in terms of that viewership. That's kind of what you're talking about here.
Yeah, and that's reflective of the national brand of Oregon and our platform that we have. But when you look at Oregon historically within the Pac-12, we've led the league in TV ratings, and we've consistently been among the top 10 in the country. And that's certainly not reflective of our stadium size or the population of our state. All those kind of fundamentals, all those metrics that we have at our disposal here. So that's more reflective of the national brand.
Yeah. And, I'm always amazed. Like we've used the phrase before, like boxing above your weight class, that sort of analogy, but it hasn't stopped Oregon over the last 2 decades.
No, and we have something special here. Again, we don't have the biggest base, we don't have the biggest stadium, but our in-game atmosphere, the energy, everything associated with Oregon football, just some of the uniqueness of our brand, the innovation, that's all been really powerful. And that combined with, just surrounding our program with the right people, with the right coaches who are going to continue to elevate that program. And it's, we're seeing a lot of that move in the right direction right now.
Deputy Athletic Director Eric Roedl joining us. So we talked a lot of basketball, a lot of football, now baseball. One of the things that, as the season got rolling, there's been a lot of rule changes and technology additions to baseball. Certainly there's been a lot of focus on the pitch clock. We talked a lot about the implementation of that. I'm the first to admit it completely changed how I do my job. The game moves a little quicker. You don't have as many time for stories on the radio, sort of a thing. But the thing this year in technology has been the pitch comp. So what we're talking about is there's literally a little radio, and you can relay from the dugout, a coach can, to the student athlete. Just one of the new changes to baseball this year.
Yeah, it's been great, and I think our student athletes like it. And, it's, again, in line with speeding up the game and more efficiency and getting calls in there, taking away some aspect of the gamesmanship with sign stealing and trying to pick pitches. And
there's been no news about sign stealing in baseball. Nothing.
Yeah, no. So it's it's interesting to see how it's going to unfold, but that's just part of the game right now, and definitely helps things move along. I mean, I've enjoyed the last even couple years. We've had a handful of games that'll finish inside of 2.5 hours, which is great for fans, and I think the technology should only help.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I know a lot of people are now going to say, well, what about a robotic strike zone? And I don't know, Eric. I don't know.
It's like tennis where you don't have officials on the court anymore. You just have a little electronic device yelling out.
As a tennis guy, do you like that?
I think in a sport like tennis, I actually do like it.
Yeah.
I think taking the human element out, like, why not just know that it's the right call?
Yeah.
In baseball, and just having been around baseball, maybe similar to what you were just kind of saying, I like the idea of an umpire behind the plate making calls. And, every game has its own flow, and as long as there's consistency, it might not always fall within, a prescribed box.
Yeah.
But, I like the idea that each game's a little different.
I'm so conflicted on this. Like, I could go back and forth on this. You could convince me one way or the other one day, and the next day I'll be the total opposite. Because I fully believe, like, no matter what, get it right. There's so much on the line, emotionally, pride, whatever. Like, there's so much on the line, get it right. But yeah, there's a game within the game. Like, you work a certain corner of the strike zone, and that's part of the game. I don't know.
And I think, to that point, we've also made adjustments with replay now.
Right.
To where there are certain plays in a game that you can make sure that you got right.
And I like that. Yeah, I am a fan of that. I know it slows the game. I mean, even in the Sunday game against UC Santa Barbara, like, there was a stoppage very early in the game that took a while, but I get it right. I'm in. Deputy Athletic Director Eric Roedl joining us. One of the things I was curious about, like, when those sorts of rule changes occur, and I know there's a lot that make headlines in football, there's always some changes every year, and there's a lot of discussion about, do you do the similar kind of pitch comm thing in football? Well, the point that I'm making, like, for someone in your chair who administrates and makes sure everything is done right, how do you plan ahead for any of that? Because I know there's costs to it, there's logistics. I don't know. Like, how do you handle that as an administrator?
Well, typically these things take a couple of years. There's usually a dialogue, within the conference level, and then reporting up through, like in the example of football, there's a football oversight committee, and the coaches have a chance to weigh in, the administrators have a chance to weigh in. You might do some piloting like they did this past year in the football postseason with some of the communications devices. So I think there's always a process involved and a run up to it, so you have time to prepare for these things. But that's something we've seen just consistently, right? Like, as technology gets better and there's some type of consensus that technology will help improve the flow of a game or the accuracy of how a game is called, or just the overall efficiency for each team, then those things tend to get adopted.
Yeah, no doubt. Deputy AD Eric Roedl with us. So we haven't talked about tennis yet. So the part of why I asked you to come on today, initially, you were going to make the trip to Santa Barbara with both men's tennis and baseball. Well, that ended up not happening because Santa Barbara's having issues with their field, so the baseball series got moved here. As a result, you came on the basketball trip. So
make sense of that.
I mean, I joked with you about this off the air. Like, that's a fluid schedule for you.
Yeah, well, Scott, basketball had a spot, and it was a quick one because it was Friday afternoon and back late Saturday afternoon. So I was like, absolutely, let's do it. Yeah. And as it turned out, it was like 38 and rainy here in Eugene Friday and Saturday.
Right.
But, that was a fluid schedule. That's the second year in a row that I had planned to be down in Santa Barbara for a combined baseball tennis thing that did not work out.
I forgot that it was going to happen last year too.
Yeah. So,
wow.
it worked out.
That's good scheduling between the tennis and baseball coaches for their sport liaison, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Except it didn't work out either time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next time, third time's a charm. Third time's a charm. Checking in on the men's tennis team, coming off that trip. I know a couple that Coach Sheelander would like back, but otherwise a successful start to non-conference play, I feel like.
Yeah. Overall, they've had good results. They definitely have probably 2, maybe 3 matches they'd like to get back, but. They've competed really well. They've got a young group, young team. I was actually just talking to Coach this morning, and obviously when you lose those close ones like we did the Florida Atlantic and literally have 2 match points on the racket for the overall match, those are tough. But we feel great about the trajectory of that group and where they're going, and they got to get right back after it because they're traveling to UW tomorrow to play Washington Thursday night.
Yeah, that's Ducks and Huskies, a matchup that Coach Sheelander gets up for. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, he won't even refer them by their name. I don't think.
No, he won't. He will not. I can confirm that. You gotta love that, right?
He's got another name for him.
Yes.
So good opportunity for them. Washington's always tough, and we've developed a really good rivalry with them, both men's and women's tennis over the years.
Women's tennis, checking in on Coach Nichols. He actually had a little bit of time here between their matchups.
Yeah, they had a little break this past weekend, which I'm sure they appreciated. They had some good, hard-fought matches the weekend before that they won. And then, this week I believe they're playing the Mountain School. So heading to Colorado and Utah, those are always a challenge because – in tennis, and other sports, but the altitude really does make a difference. So I know they're excited to get out there and get going with Pac-12 play.
Yeah, Pac-12 play is officially here. So what else occupies your time right now? What did we miss?
I don't know. We talked about a lot of it, but, the Big Ten transition. So this is a big planning time of the year. Yeah. And, we've talked about this. So of our 20 sports, 10 of them will play kind of a Big Ten regular season schedule. Mm-hmm. So we're starting to get those schedule models back from the Big Ten and then see how that's going to impact each of those 10 teams that play a regular season schedule and how we have to fund those sports next year and figuring out, how to be most efficient with travel and all those types of things. So that's a big part. Again, Big Ten transition related with branding, facilities, being ready for Big Ten network, relative to how Pac-12 network functions. So there's definitely going to be more to do in that area this year. And again, this is just an exciting time of year. There's a lot going on, and we're really excited about the overall trajectory of things.
Looking forward to it. That's Deputy AD Eric Roedl. Eric, thanks for being here. Really appreciate you taking the time. We'll do it again probably about 6 weeks. I try to stay on that 4 to 6 week calendar for you.
Yeah, it sounds great, and we can talk about the bubble next time.
That's right. You might have to remind me. We'll be past the bubble conversation in 6 weeks, but I never thought that we would spend like 4 shows discussing the meaning of that phrase. This is Duck Insider.
Well, maybe I'll camp out with you courtside one of these postseason basketball games.
That's what I like.
See if you can get some good lines of sight down there.
You're welcome anytime. You're welcome anytime. And if I can't see who the foul is on, I'll just look at you.
Just make sure I'm there to keep you in your seat.
Yeah,
right?
The teeter. I'm telling you, it's only happened once. Jerry actually fell over one time. He told me.
Well, sometimes you sound like you're going to fall over.
Well, that's true. Maybe Jerry's was like a lean back. I don't know. But anyway, thanks you, Eric. I appreciate the time. When we come back, some postseason honors, all conference honors for women's basketball, checking in on women's golf. Also, Coach Lombardi, Duck softball head coach, going to join us. Pac-12 opener on the horizon at the Jane. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. It's Tuesday, which means it's softball day. Coach Lombardi is here. Coach, you were at Jane Sanders Stadium. We don't have to talk about a road trip. You put your suitcase away. Just how nice was it to be back at home last weekend?
It was awesome. It was awesome to be at home, to play in front of our fans, and to play at the stadium. So I loved it.
So I wanted to give you a chance, too, to talk a bit about the schedule. I mean, last week we covered, like, some things moved around, right? But, you know, shout out to your team and everybody that makes something like that happen. I know that's not easy for a squad.
Sure. We had inclement weather. I mean, going into the weekend, the way the weather was projecting, it didn't look like we were going to even get one game in. And as you know, with our weather in Oregon, it turns.
You don't like the weather in Oregon, wait 5 minutes.
It could say 80% and then be down to 20%, you know. It just changes. And so I just think about Zach and I think about Arnie and Scott and everybody that just made it happen. Our field was in tip-top shape. You know, when the weather comes and there's a lot of rain on our tarp, they will blow the tarp up where it looks like a little dome, and they work under it while it's raining and get it situated, and then the rain stops and they pull it off and we play. And that's
amazed.
Exactly what we got to do. So I'm just so thankful for those guys.
You know, I'm glad that you brought up the science of the dome tarp.
Yeah.
You know, I've always found this stuff fascinating. So just like a diamond sport coach is sort of an amateur meteorologist, I feel like a grounds crew is like the ultimate entrepreneur invention. Like, I don't know, what do they say? Like the catalyst of every invention is need. That was it, you know, like I just thought that was great. How does the team handle that too, Coach? Like it's kind of an in and out schedule. I don't know. How do you approach that as a coaching staff?
You know, it's just this time of the year. It's just the weather that we deal with, and our athletes understand that. And I always say our athletes, there's nobody else in the country that can handle inclement weather like our athletes do. They just understand that it's going to pass. Give it a second. I think what's unbelievable is that we have unbelievable facilities to give us the opportunity to just kind of sit and wait when we need to do that. And then when it's go time, we're ready to go.
So you go 3-1, a split against Maryland, a couple wins over Mount St. Mary's. What'd you take away on the diamond?
Yeah, I loved seeing KK just really get comfortable and start doing what she can do. Like she was just powerful at the plate. Really, my favorite game was our last day against Maryland. You know, we went up 2-0, and then got 2 more runs, and they ended up coming back, and it was a 4-2 ball game. And I thought Stevie was brilliant on the mound. I thought Coach Martyr, you know, we kind of switched things up a little bit, and she ran the offense this weekend, and I thought she was excellent. I thought she made some really, really good calls that gave us an opportunity to put our athletes in a great position to be successful and win that game.
Talking about Coach Barter, a chance, I guess, to dive into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that's a different shift up for you guys this week.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought it went really well. I think about, and you're going to see her again this weekend, the research that she does offensively and the statistics that she has and the pitches that she knows pitchers are going to throw in certain counts. She just has all that information. So for her to just stand there at third base and call the offensive game, I thought it was great. I thought she was just on point, very aggressive, did what we needed to do to win the ball game. And then I just think it gave me an opportunity to just really get caught up in my moves defensively and on the mound and with the pitchers, versus just I'm there and I'm calling the offense and then now we got to go and I got to get my now I got to get caught up in calling the defense and pitching, and then it's just like a back and forth. And I think it was just great to see her really just totally indulge in that and me do the same with the pitching.
It's amazing. You're talking a lot about, I feel like any manager, thinks about delegation. How difficult is that though? I mean, I'm bad at that. I'm the first to admit I'm awful at delegating, Coach.
Yeah, no, I trust our coaches, and I think about how can we absolutely maximize our athletes, and I think of the same way with our coaches. And I just felt like it was a good move, and I thought she did an excellent job.
That's cool. I wanted to ask you too about playing with a lead. I know that changes things in every sport, right? But I felt like that. I don't know, just seeing on the field, it felt like there was this confidence about your squad when you got the lead against Maryland. Did you see that? Do you agree?
Yeah, these guys came out we didn't get what we wanted the first game against them, and so they came out and they knew that we were going to win. And sometimes when it doesn't matter if you know exactly how you're going to win, you just know that you're going to win. And that's what I could feel from this group.
You talked about KK Humphreys a little bit. So just to give some context, that a .583 average over the weekend with 3 home runs and 9 RBI. Also, Alyssa Daniel, she hit 500 for you. What'd you see from Melyssa?
Yeah, just you could see she's very comfortable, confident at the plate. She spreads the field. I think when she first came in here, she was just really a heavy pull hitter, and you don't see that anymore. You see her; she does a good job with what she gets at the plate. So just love her confidence and what she's doing.
You touched on Stevie Hansen. So 3 different appearances, all scoreless. Again, the staff, I feel like the way that the staff has deployed, what'd you take away from that this weekend?
Yeah, I looked at Stevie and she's a competitor. She's fearless. She's been like that since day one, and just love where she's at right now. She's in a really comfortable place on the mound. She knows what she needs to do. She's got that experience, and I think it's been great. I loved watching her throw this weekend. For
the entire pitching staff, so we were discussing during the break, as a broadcaster, pounding the strike zone, throwing strikes, love that. Love that. I imagine that a coach feels the same way. 24 walks issued in 20 games. I mean, if I told you going into the season, you'd probably take that number, right?
Yeah, no, it's great. They trust their stuff. They want to work ahead. They do a great job of letting their defense work behind them, and I love that. I would rather them honestly throw the ball right down the middle of the plate, and I've said this to them, and we'll take our chances on defense than walking somebody. Now somebody gets a bloop single, that walk now goes to third, a sac fly, and we give up that run when we shouldn't have, and it's because we walked the hitter. Just go at them. And they've done that. They've done a good job of just going right at hitters.
And it lengthens a lineup on the opposition, right? The best hitters then are going to get another at bat the longer that it goes. So I want to ask this, and I'm trying to phrase it correctly here. So you're number 10 nationally in fielding percentage, one of the top in the Pac-12, and then those numbers, 3 individuals for the Ducks are in the top 7 in fewest walks per 7 innings of work. How much does having that defense inform what you just talked about, or I guess give you the confidence to do what you just talked about?
For sure. I mean, these guys are positioned. They know exactly where the ball is going to go, and I think we talked about this last week, and they anticipate if what could possibly happen. So they're expecting hard pull, but then the hitter's early, they're going to flare, and so they're expecting that as well. So they're anticipating that. They're in position, but then have the anticipation to go with it. And I think that has been wonderful. That's what we need from our defense. Our defense just athletically is really good, but then to be in position to know exactly what's coming, it's great. And I attribute that to Coach Liss. Coach Liss does all of our defensive shifts, and Coach Romero, and they get things ready to go for these guys. These guys know exactly where they need to be and what they need to do. So I think I look at this weekend and our team just being in really good positions in all areas for us to be successful.
Pac-12 opener coming up, Cal in town. Now, how big of a deal is it to have back-to-back home weeks? Can you even put that into words, how much that helps in practice, all these other things that goes into that?
Yeah, it's been wonderful. It's so nice to be back-to-back and just, like I said, get to put your suitcase away and get to go to class and not worry about missing things and just have a nice, steady schedule.
It's a top 25 matchup. So Cal, the schedule ahead, Friday through Sunday at the Jane, 6 o'clock on Friday, 2 o'clock on Saturday, which is perfect because then you're going to watch softball at the Jane, make your way over to Senior Day for men's basketball at Matthew Knight Arena. The weather's going to be perfect, and then noon on Sunday. What do you see from Cal? What's the scouting report on the Golden Bears?
Yeah, Cal, they're a complete team. They pitch well. They've got some good power throughout the lineup. Play good defense. They're a team that's a tough team. They've always been like that.
Sunday is the pink and cancer awareness game, which means that the uniforms, the style, the look good, play good, all those things. We've talked about this a number of times, Coach, but this is just another opportunity where you have a great uniform. Everyone gets excited about the uniform, but then it's a powerful message, and that's something beyond softball that I know you guys are passionate about.
Very passionate about. I think every one of us, cancer has touched our lives, and so anytime that we can, talk about breast cancer and have it to be a part of what we do and have a message and the support, that we have for our loved ones and friends and all different people that are dealing with it, it's a strong message. It's a strong belief that we have, and how can we battle and win that fight?
I did want to ask you, as non-conference comes to a close as well, what's your assessment of the conference, the schedule ahead now that there's been some competition throughout the non-conference season? What do you see from the Pac-12?
I see what the Pac-12 always is, and it's a weekend of super regionals for the next however many weekends, right. And I love that because it just, you just get into that postseason mentality mode. It's just every weekend you're going and you're playing a super regional, and see. I'm excited because this is where you really get to see your team start to just, you just get to see them get the fight that they have and the competitors that they are, and just putting it out there every single weekend. So I love the Pac.
Conference opener coming up this weekend, Friday 6 o'clock. It all starts at the Jane. Be nice to have that home field advantage.
Yes, definitely. We need the Jane to roar. We love the rumbling of the stands. That never, ever, ever gets old. The rumbling is one of the most favorite things that I hear at the Jane, and that our athletes hear as well. So it's about that Lion's Den. We want that Lion's Den. We want our students to come. We want our fans, our supporters to get out there and just rumble the stands.
Keys to success, what do you want to see from your team this weekend?
I think just basically what we talked about, offensively, continuing to stay aggressive. We've doubled our stolen bases. These guys run, and we're going to keep running. But just to be, clutch with what we're doing at the plate for our pitchers and our defense to give us the opportunity to win the ball game.
Anything else on your mind? What we missed today?
Nothing. I just can't wait.
Woo!
Can't wait.
We
Let's
covered
go.
it all. Coach Lombardi joining us. Best of luck as conference season rolls. Thanks for always being with us, Coach. We appreciate it. Quick timeout. When we come back, a little bit of basketball preview for both the men and the women. Postseason basketball. You talk about postseason mentality right now for softball. It's postseason time for basketball. March Madness. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Imagine all the fun you can have this spring break in a new Toyota. Woo-hoo! I'm having fun, and I'm not even there.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends April 1st.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Imagine all the fun you can have this spring break in a new Toyota. Woo-hoo! I'm having fun, and I'm not even there.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends April 1st.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. I heard a lot from Coach Lombardi, a lot of great things. And then, talking about women's basketball, this is awesome. Oregon's Philippina Che and Grace Van Slooten both named all Pac-12 honorable mention today. The conference office revealed its annual all-conference awards. It's determined by a vote of the league's coaches. Shea, a junior, earns her first all-conference accolade. Van Slooten earns her second straight all-Pac-12 honorable mention nod after also being selected to the Pac-12's all-freshman team a season ago. So Philly Che, Pac-12's leader in both rebounding, 12.1 per game, and double-doubles. She had 20, ranking 3rd and 4th, respectively, in the nation. And that was an honorable mention. I mean, that just tells you what this league is, right? Like, Colorado's the 5 seed playing the Ducks tomorrow, a top 20-25 team. But, man, what a year for Philly Che. Her 20 double-doubles have tied her with Sabrina Ionescu for 6th most in a single season in program history, while her 28 career double-doubles are tied for 9th most all-time. The Calgary, Alberta native registered 25 games with 10 or more points after producing 11 such games over her first 2 seasons in Eugene. You talk about an improved player, voted as the co-most improved player on the team by her squad at the banquet last weekend, by the way. Philly Che, though, has logged a pair of 20-point games this season, including a career-high 23 at Washington State back in February. She's one of only 3 players in the country averaging at least 12 points and 12 rebounds per game. Averaging a double-double on the season. Philly Che. 375 rebounds. She's 2 away from number 3 in a single season in Oregon history, which would surpass the 376 boards she grabbed a season ago. Might pass herself on that all-time list. Che is on pace to become the first Duck to average a double-double since Jillian Aileen did so in the 2015-16 campaign. Congratulations to Philly Che. Honorable mention, all-conference for the Pac-12. Now, Grace Van Slooten, the Ducks' leading scorer at 15.2 points per game. Impressive number. She shot 40% from the field, averaged 7.2 rebounds a night, and she ranked 2nd on the team in that rebounding category behind the aforementioned Philly Che. She has registered a career-best 8 double-doubles this season, 10 in the, so far, pretty illustrious career of Grace Van Slooten. She's a 6'3" sophomore, owns a team-high 27 games in double figures, including each of her last 11 games, a career-long stretch. I'll tell you, watching Grace Van Slooten play, I'm excited for junior year Grace Van Slooten. Was really a true 4 last year, now playing as more of a 3 and a stretch 4. Certainly the Ducks with the injuries, they had to rearrange some things, but I'm looking forward to the development of Grace Van Slooten. The Toledo, Ohio native, one of just 3 players in a Power 5 conference to average at least 15 points, 7 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and a steal. versatility across the stat sheet. One of 14 players in Division I to have those totals. In back-to-back games this season, Van Sluten set and then matched a career high with 16 points at Nevada and at Portland. The Ducks head to the Pac-12 tournament next in Las Vegas, the number 12 seed, where the Ducks will face 5th-seeded Colorado. First round set for Wednesday at noon at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. It'll be televised on Pac-12 Network, and our own Chris Clayton has an 11:30 pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network. That means, because we've got 2 live play-by-play broadcasts tomorrow, no Duck Insider across the Oregon Sports Network, because I'll be tuned in to Chris Clayton, and then I'll be tuned in to Ryan Milano coming up. Women's golf is in action today. Yesterday, freshman Ting Xuan Huang shot under par for the first time in her Oregon career, led the Oregon women's golf team in the opening round of the Darius Rucker Intercollegiate. She finished with a 1 under 70, putting her in a tie for 15th individually. Now the Ducks, I will say, in action earlier today, it has not gone the way they would like as a team. I think that Eric Roedl would say it's time to get a reset button after a pretty impressive performance, though, from the freshman. Now the rest of the team hoping to round into form a top 25 Oregon women's golf team that has been, well, doggone impressive, really, since Eric Roedl took over as the head coach of the Ducks. Talking about baseball, the Ducks are on the road. It is a game day for Duck baseball today. 5 o'clock first pitch set at Grand Canyon, a ballpark that generally favors offense. Midweek pitching generally favors offense. I think the Ducks are going to have to score some runs in this 2-game set in Arizona, going from the home matchup against UC Santa Barbara, where the Ducks salvaged a game in that series. I think Oregon would tell you that on Friday and Saturday, they just had too many missed opportunities offensively. Ducks left the bases loaded 2-3 times in the first 2 games of that series. Well, then they capitalized with the bases loaded. I thought took advantage of the depth of UC Santa Barbara's pitching staff, or maybe lack thereof. Ducks scored 9 runs in a critical 6th inning, scored 16 unanswered runs, won 16-9. An impressive offensive performance. And what I thought was great, the Ducks showed length throughout their lineup, not just getting hits, but taking pitches. Ducks showed some discipline. Might need to show that against some midweek pitching here on Tuesday and Wednesday. The 2-game midweek series is always tough on a pitching staff because you don't want to burn through your entire pitching staff on a Wednesday just to then turn around and play your conference opener at 5:30 on Friday. I think the pitching depth is a key for Oregon coming up tonight and tomorrow. It's a 1 o'clock matinee tomorrow and a 5 o'clock first pitch tonight. I'll be tuned in to Ryan Milano following our Tip-Off Tuesday, which is coming your way this afternoon. Speaking of basketball, when we come back, how about a preview of Tip-Off Tuesday and everything else that's on the horizon for both basketball teams? Stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. The Ducks have been, in both cases, a little injury-ridden on the basketball floor. And I'll tell you what, I think as the year has gone on, I've really recognized how important all of the health of your roster is. Now, that's always a thing. Right? It's always going to be a concern for any coach. It's going to be a concern for any student athlete when you have injuries. But it puts it in perspective, having somebody like N'Faly Dante discuss this subject. N'Faly Dante will be with us on Tip-Off Tuesday. And Dante is one who's been through injuries. I asked him, and this is what's coming up today, I asked him about the way he has dealt with adversity and the way that he has overcome injuries in his career. Because that's a tough thing to go through, a tough thing to do when it happens multiple times. He's been banged up. Coach Altman, I know, will tell you that he feels sorry for him. It's just an unfortunate deal, but how about the adversity that he has been through, and now we get a chance to celebrate him on Senior Day coming up, and we get a chance to talk with him on Tip-Off Tuesday about his journey, his life, why he chose Oregon. And if you haven't heard, one, what he's doing for his mom. He's building his mom a house in Mali. And two, if you haven't heard the story of how he ended up getting seen to come play basketball in high school in the United States, man, that story is going to rock your world. Give you a little preview. He was never supposed to be at the basketball camp where he got seen, and ultimately what led to him playing in Alabama and Kansas before committing to Oregon as a collegiate athlete. Was never supposed to be at the camp. He was also taller than me when he was 12 years old. There's a reason that I do this for a living, and N'Faly Dante does what he does for hopefully a very long living after the great career at the University of Oregon comes to a close. And then also, shout out to Chris Clayton. He sat down with Peyton Scott. Last week, announced Peyton Scott's going to come back for sure next year after getting hurt in just the second game of the year for women's basketball. Another student athlete that has been through injuries, has been through adversity. This season has been through that. You're going to enjoy what you hear coming from Peyton Scott. Why she's coming back, what she's done this year as a student athlete, learning from the coaches, maybe someday going to be a coach. Peyton Scott and N'Faly Dante on our final Tip-Off Tuesday presented by Toyota coming your way. Women's basketball tomorrow at noon. Men's basketball 6 o'clock against Colorado on Thursday. It's a big game. Televised on ESPN2. And then Oregon men's basketball senior weekend, Saturday, 4 o'clock, the Ducks and the Utes. It's going to be a good week at Matthew Knight Arena. So we'll talk to you for Tip-Off Tuesday. Kelly Graves, Dana Altman, N'Faly Dante, Peyton Scott. No show tomorrow because we'll be tuned in to women's basketball and we'll be tuned in to baseball. And then we've also got Oregon lacrosse at 5 o'clock tomorrow. It's a triple game day. Also women's golf in action for their third round. See you for Tip-Off Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving and when you're going from point A to B.